It's Madmen Sports. We got Diamond Dave in the building.
Diamond Dave's sparkling today.
He's looking good. Diamond.
How are you guys?
He's got a glaze in his eyes.
Pressure creates diamonds, you know? We got Zach over here, myself, Jake.
We got Sean McDermott in the house.
An exclusive interview, obviously.
We're not paying for that, are we?
No, he's free. Cut the promo.
Cut the check.
Guys, we're looking at this. That's Gabe Davis. Who else do we have? Who's going to come right back after Gabe Davis? Who knows? We are ready. We're 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. Bills have the number 30 pick. And we have some ideas on what we think we should do with that pick. Dave, you feeling good today? You ready to talk this one out? Diamond Dave.
He asked us probably 5 times before we podcasted.
You know what you're talking
Oh,
about?
no, I didn't get it. Yeah.
Dave is the essential worker of Madmen Sports.
So what's going on? A lot of talk of the Bills taking Najee Harris at 30. I don't think that's a great pick, personally.
So you're saying no running back?
No, we throw the ball 90% of the time, and I think that's exactly what Brian Dable wants to do.
I think we throw the ball 90% of the time so we don't have a running back.
I don't think we need one. I think we have Stephon Diggs. I think we now have Emmanuel Sanders. We have Gabriel Davis.
I think.
What's that?
You don't think this autographed Zach Moss jersey runs enough?
Do you want it?
Straight from Zach Moss
Let
himself.
us know.
I don't want it. I bought a random jersey. It's a Buffalo Bills mystery jersey. No offense to Zach, big Utah fan. Same name. Me and him are brothers.
Wow.
Zach Moss
I'm not brothers with Zach Moss.
is not a jersey that I was really coveting out of that pick. So I do have it. We're going to see if we can do something with it eventually.
Yeah, that's fine.
That is the ideal scenario one day.
Oh, yeah. So what do you guys think about taking a running back at pick 30, even more specifically, Najee Harris?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about this, right? Dave, running back, how you feeling, brother? It's choking him up. He's so ready to talk about this.
We're not taking running back. And I'll tell you why.
Tell me why, huh?
Dropping the hammer.
First off, Najee Harris isn't going to get past the top 20, I don't think. I think probabee 3 running
You don't
backs.
think?
He might.
I think 3 running
What if
backs
he-
will probably go before we go at 30.
Really, name the 3. Who do you think's going?
Najee Harris, the guy from
Javonte Williams?
North Carolina, and Etney that I can't pronounce.
Travis Etienne?
Well, maybe that's how you say it, but
It's
Allegedly,
possible.
that's his name.
We love to get critiqued on our pronunciations.
Yeah, Jake was really upset that we couldn't let him be Hawk. He's a hack until he's a Buffalo Bill, damn it.
I don't know. You know who I'm talking about.
Exactly. You exactly knew what we were talking about. Now listen.
I think the Bills are really high on Breida that they picked up in free agency. Even though I still don't think they're going to use him that much, I don't think Bills are going to be the Bills are going to get a running back in the draft, but they're not going to get one at 30. Also, how crazy is it the Bills are even going to draft this year until about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night? Isn't that weird?
It's different from what we're used to. I'm used to being able to watch the Bills pick within the first 45 minutes. Now I'm going to have to stay up late. I'm going to have to drink a Red Bull or a coffee. I mean, historically.
They didn't even draft last year.
Sure. Historically, sure. I mean, pick 3, pick 9.
Imagine
pick
waiting
7.
until 11 o'clock and they trade the pick.
I'm okay with that. Because, Jake, you go next. So, Dave, you are anti-running back just because you don't think a good one will be there. Now, scenario, Etienne, Williams, Harris, they fall to 30. What are you doing?
What am I doing? Are we there yet?
No. What are you doing if those 3 guys fall there?
I,
Are you still skipping on running backs even though you
depends
think
on
those
the
guys
Bills.
are top 20
Depends on the
talents?
Bills' board is. Obviously, Najee Harris is the guy this year. I just don't think he's going to be there. You got Pittsburgh who needs a back. You got the Dolphins who still want a back. You got all these teams out there that need running backs. They're not going to pass up on that kind of talent. It is very
For sure.
quarterback. I think probably 5 quarterbacks go in the top 15, which is insane. And
Could be all smoke screens, though. We don't know it right now.
that's a lot of smoke.
You're getting smoke screened in fantasy right now.
Yeah, it's a tough look. I think I got bamboozled.
Yeah, I might have as well. That's why I got out of the first round.
I am trading all my picks.
No, you still have a first round.
You're
No.
trading legitimately everything.
Yeah, I'm planning on being dead in 2 years.
Are you doing the Brandon Bean method? Do you, if a running back, a top 30 running back falls there at number 30, I guess, so you're calling these, excuse me, let me rephrase this. So you're calling these 3 running backs top 20 talent. And if they fall to 30, you're going to pass on them?
They're not top 20 talent in my eyes. They're top 20 talents in the NFL's eyes.
Okay.
In my fantasy, personally, I don't need a running back. So
No.
we're not talking about we're not talking about the crazy Arabs. We're talking about the Buffalo Bills.
No, we're talking about, if obviously, I don't care what your team does in fantasy at pick 30. I care about what you think the Bills would do in that scenario with those top 20 running backs in this NFL would fall to 30.
Cliff note, He is Arabic, so he's allowed to have that.
So
Just-
am I.
just-
I don't
just
think
making that known.
my pick for the Bills is the one position they really haven't
You
even
can't-
addressed
We
this
can't get canceled for our
offseason.
own culture.
They haven't even
They might not know. Sorry.
They haven't even addressed this offseason at all, is the defensive line. The Bills are going to go heavy at defensive line this draft. They haven't, brought anyone in from free agency and haven't even looked at anyone or signed anyone on the defensive line. It's going to be defensive line. The pass rush needs to be fixed. Star's back, sure, but that doesn't fix the problem. Bills are going to go defensive line this free agency. Look for Christian Barmore from Alabama, the big nose tackle.
I'm going to say this. I think this is the first time in a long time, maybe last year, sure. There's no glaring holes on this team, and we're certainly aware of that. I think we're definitely going to be going best player available, and in the event that it is a running back, I do think we will. I don't necessarily think that the Bills are gun-ho on Najee Harris. To Dave's point, he may not be there at 30, but I think Bills are going best player available. If we did have to talk about holes, it's possibly backup cornerback and maybe backup safety.
That's an interesting one.
We have a lot, but I don't think that we need to pick a backup in the first round. I think,
What are you taking, Brandon?
hey, Brandon, come through the TV, let us know who you're taking, because I can't wait 2 more weeks.
To touch on that real quick, the safety
Please.
thing's an interesting thing because the Bills did lose Dean Marlowe. He was very important to he played a lot, and Hyde and Poyer, or whatever you want to call them, is
Their government names.
Jordan Poyer's off a bean right now on Twitter.
yeah.
None of my business.
We're not going to talk
We're not
about
touching
that.
that.
But he's going off. So is
I
his
think
wife.
safety.
out of my DMs.
I think safety's a position the Bills touch in the first 4 rounds.
Rachel,
I think
please
that's
unblock
definitely
me.
a position the Bills look to start in the next 2 years with a new player.
Yeah, I don't think that's a stretch to say that they go in the first 4 rounds there. I definitely like the idea that you think they go D-back there. I think you could, push in a cornerback there in that position and maybe have them fight that out with Levi and Dane. Now, proven Levi Wallace is a starting NFL corner in this league that is working for meals at this point because he keeps signing cheaper deals to stay with the Buffalo Bills. Pause. You know what I mean? So, that's what we're talking about. I mean, Dane Jackson, he showed flashes last year of being able to hang with the big boys in the NFL. Now you get to a corner in the first round. Do you want a stud to go opposite side of Trey White? Of course you do.
I have all the confidence in the world in Levi Wallace.
I love Levi.
People say he struggled, but you have to keep in mind you have an all-pro cornerback in Tre'Davious White. At one point, highest paid corner in the league. They're not throwing to him on a regular basis.
Give me the jerseys, Zach.
So, who else are you going to throw to? Taron Johnson's really good. Levi Wallace, pretty good. So you're going to see Levi Wallace kind of struggle on the stat line just due to the fact that he's opposite one of the greatest corners in the league.
Yeah, his struggles when they are available. They're not always available. I stand Levi. His struggles when they happen are a product of the team around him. It's, hey, what are we going to pick our poison with? I guess we'll pick our poison with the undrafted starting cornerback, which is on top 10 defense. So what are you going to do? I mean, there is no beefs with Levi Wallace having any struggles whatsoever. So I don't hate that. Speaking of people getting up there in age, you got Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer.
But just signed extensions and new contracts.
Exactly. But what's the harm in having that? Not even to be starters eventually. But we all saw the AFC Championship game. We saw how the tight end Travis Kelce kind of picked us apart a little bit. Maybe we get a big nickel corner that plays safety and kind of rotate through there. I don't hate those options either. I think defensive back is very tantalizing. A little bit more tantalizing for me than maybe a defensive line. I think, and this is just a me thing, I think the Bills do need to address it. I just think that they've kind of, put all their chips in the table, so to speak, and they've put way too many resources into the defensive line already. They're paying Star Latulippe $12 million. Mario Addison was getting north of $10 million last year. Jerry Hughes is getting $11 million. You drafted Ed Oliver. You drafted Harrison Phillips. You're putting way too. You got AJ Epinesa last year in the second round. You've put in way too many resources in your D line to not focus on what you have rather than bringing in more things. Because there's obviously a problem there. You keep paying for talent. You keep spending picks on talent. There should be talent coming through on the other side on that. So why waste another resource? And maybe not waste. You can always get great talent. Why bring in another guy in the top 2 picks there with your 30th and 60th or 62nd pick? why use a resource to not really have that come through? Maybe focus on the D-line and have those guys come through on their own talent. You have Starback in the fold. Ed Oliver needs to step up as a third-year guy. AJ's getting a second year of an offseason. Mario Addison, Vernon Butler, second year in the season in the system now. You really need those guys to step up and elevate rather than let's get another resource into the pot. Like, it's like when you're buying a stock and you keep doubling down on stocks, right? And you're like, oh man, I really got to figure out what's going on with the stock. I might as well keep buying stocks. No, figure out why you're having poor investments. Figure out how to adjust your stocks and kind of calculate that.
Kind of off right here.
Rip it off.
Is it safe to say, is there an argument to be had that Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott have had better success in later rounds in the draft rather than having success in the first 1, 2, or 3 rounds?
I think it turns into more of a crapshoot later on.
Does it? With
Maybe
the
they
Bills?
get lucky then.
It seems like they've been getting lucky.
I mean, what are their later picks last year? They have Tyler Bass, Dane Jackson,
Isaiah Hodgins.
Hodgins, let's call Gabe Davis, even though he's a third rounder, he was a later pick, so to speak, and then you go in the years past, you have Taron Johnson, a 4th round pick, you have Matt Milano, a 5th round pick. I could see your argument and where you stand on that. I definitely think you have somewhat of a, so to speak, argument here.
Yeah.
Especially when you look,
Gabe was a 4th round pick, excuse me.
You look at
I was gonna
players
correct
like Ed Oliver, good player. I don't know. I think there's a lot of topic to be had, and I think we might be at opposite ends of the spectrum
He
here.
had a fantastic second half of the rookie year.
Right.
But
yes.
outside of that, I agree. What are we really seeing out of him?
I would kind of consider him like a Shaq Lawson type beat. Like, he's got the potential, he's strong, he's physical, but is he putting it together on the field?
We should expect more from him. I definitely see what you're saying out of that. 100%.
So, and AJ, sure, rookie, sure, weird season. Didn't play much.
He eventually, towards the end of the year, though,
started making some waves.
He was putting a $9 million guy in Trent Murphy on the bench.
Which is very normal for a defensive end to not come off.
Absolutely.
It's completely different to play defensive end in college compared to the NFL. So AJ, so far, we don't know a thing about him.
No, and that's fine.
Everything Zach said just convinced me even more that we need defensive end or a pass rusher because you're not getting he admitted you're not getting production on these guys. You gotta keep. It's like when people say draft a quarterback every year until you strike. You gotta keep drafting a defensive end. Our best defensive end right now is Jerry Hughes,
which is really good, really great at getting quarterback pressure.
One of the oldest ones in the league.
He's been at the top of the league in that stat line for the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, he's been
a
a
really good
dominant
player.
force on the D end there. I do hear what you're saying. Listen, you do need that. I'll admit it. You need those guys to step up. But we now have AJ, Mario, Vernon Butler, all the 3 guys, Ed Oliver, right? Let's throw him into the newbies. You have guys that really haven't molded into that system yet for a full offseason. You have AJ, didn't have a full offseason. Then you took out, then you had, Ed Oliver kind of rising to the occasion towards the back half of his rookie year. And then you take away Star the next year. So, I think, I'm not saying it's a terrible pick. Obviously, nothing's a terrible pick when you're 30th pick in the draft. You know what I'm saying? I just think that you might need to look at what's in the room and say, how do we fix us? There's talent here. We all thought you were in a position. Ed Oliver's a top 10 pick. It's crazy to me that we had Josh Allen and a top 10 pick at one point. You know what I mean? That's nuts. Because it seems so far away, but in reality, it's only a Thanos snap away.
And it's a really tough conversation to have. You let go 2 of your top performers on the defensive line in 2019 in Jordan Phillips and Shaq Lawson. And you bring in all these guys spending a massive amount of money, and you don't get the production that you saw with those 2 guys who you let walk. You have some guys on your team, such as Star Lotulelei, didn't play, Jerry Hughes, and then Mario. So it's tough to have that conversation because we've put so much emphasis on the defensive line over the past 2 or 3 years, and to still have it be a topic of conversation. If I have to go and say maybe what's one thing that Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane missed on during their tenure with the Buffalo Bills might be the defensive line.
A lot of resources, not a lot of production.
I think, though, we're still in an okay spot with just the other strengths on the defense. We have one of the best secondaries in the league, bar none. We have really great linebackers, a really young Tremaine Edmonds, a decently young Matt Milano, and what was his name? Why am I blanking?
Edmonds?
No, the other guy. AJ Klein. And a
Really,
decent AJ Klein. Good for 1 week. So it's tough to have that conversation for sure as a Bills fan, especially when you want to be upbeat. I mean, we made it to the AFC Championship. It's kind of hard to dwell on a position group or a set of position groups, but it's just a tough conversation to have. And you look like you want to have it.
Get in there.
None.
Get in there.
And we sound like we're being negative. We're not. We're in a very.
We're not.
This is
We
a
probably
very.
sound really
This is a
loud.
very good position to be in. A very good problem to
That's
have.
easier to fix in post.
We have a defensive line problem that we can easily fix. Not easily, but we still went to the AFC Championship game with the defensive line. So we have a very good problem on our hands. We have.
No cans.
You guys finish. I lost my train of thought.
You
said
said we
we
did the
had.
AFC
With your
Championship
can
game.
discussion. How about depth? We got depth. We're drafted depth at this point.
Sorry, Davey.
But couldn't. Okay, so here, let me throw another wrench to the whole running back thing. The Bills don't have any major holes. Their offensive line, they kind of improved, stayed the same. If nothing else, they improved. I don't think they went back.
And their continuity just.
They got healthier and more continuity. Their wide receivers got better, probably. I mean, addition by subtraction with John Brown and Emmanuel Sanders stepping up. Tight ends, probably a lateral move with
Lost a lot.
Howlett. We lost Lee Smith. I wouldn't call it a lot yet. We lost a big blocker. No doubt about it. We lost a big blocker there. But Hollister versus Croft, probably even break on that one. Quarterback, we know what we have. Running back, we probably got better with Breda, honestly. I love that Dave loves him because I love him. So we don't have any holes, right? So you have the 30th pick. 30th pick, kind of a crapshoot. I did the research today. 6 years is the average career expectancy of a 30th pick in the draft.
Do we have any comparisons?
They are
Like,
likely to get the second. I mean, Reggie Wayne was the 30th pick. He's the best 30th pick ever.
Let's get a Reggie Wayne, guys.
Yeah. Listen, so the average career expectancy of a 30th pick is 6 years. You're very likely to get a second contract, more likely to be a bust than a Pro Bowler. Those are the stats there. Now, let me double down by saying, if someone calls knocking, as Dave mentioned earlier, like let's say this was floated out, Buffalo Rumblings floated this one out this week, and listen, let's hope the Eagles are dumb enough to do this because I think it's such a landslide, but go off. If the Eagles fall in love with someone at the 30th pick, and they call and say, hey, Zach Ertz and 37 for 30. Brandon Bean breathes yes, correct? Without a doubt, David?
With Zach Ertz taking pay cut, yes.
Yeah, you work on that.
Especially Kyle Pitts.
It's not
is
our money, you know what I mean?
long gone. Everyone knows that Kyle Pitts will be long gone at that point.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts will probably be a top 10, 15 pick in the NFL draft.
Not a deep class.
Top 8.
We're not talking fantasy, homie.
Someone's willing to go out and say top 8. Maybe, I don't know. This draft will be smoke screened and crazy because of all the missed time and lack of actual scouting. But because of that, you take a Zach Ertz and 37 all day, you pack up and go home for the night, right?
Without a doubt.
David?
Yeah, I feel like the Bills are all in with Dawson Knox at this point. But yeah.
Absolutely, but
They run multiple tight end sets consistently.
And I feel like Zach Ertz would cost more than us moving back 7 spots in Zach Ertz.
Maybe earlier in the free agency
Yeah, but
period.
maybe-
They had no interest.
yeah, I mean, maybe you throw a 4th rounder, or you don't have a 4th rounder, but maybe you throw a 5th rounder out there. I don't know what the exact details are, but if someone's willing to offer you a tight end, maybe Evan Ingram or Zach Ertz or something along those lines, and to the Dawson Knox point, just for the sake of this argument because of the draft, there are so many mouths to feed in this offense. Steve Tasker was talking about this today. That's why it sticks out to me. It might be hard for Dawson Knox to ever break out. It might be hard for Dawson Knox to ever get comfortable with the ball in his hands. Because if he gets a pass, he gets a catch. He's never getting like a string of, he's never getting a steady diet of catches. Because there's always going to be a Diggs, Sanders throw, a Cole Beasley throw, a running back throw, Josh Allen running. You know what I mean? There's so many other weapons that there'll never be a time where Dawson Knox can start to come into his own naturally.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to catch momentum. And it's tough
Exactly.
because you see the guy, he's working out with George Kittle consistently. He's a good player. He's super athletic. He's one of the most athletic tight ends in the league.
Without a doubt.
Super
We
young.
got great angry runs, you know what I mean? We've seen what he's been able to do with the ball in his hand.
He's wildly athletic. You
Absolutely.
just got to catch the ball. You just got to block better. I mean, if you're going to be playing in the AFC Championship, even going further to the Super Bowl, you can't have these glaring assets to your game. I mean, you got to be an all-around player. And if you're not, I mean, I've been saying this for the past year and a half. There's no more time for projects here.
And that's 100% the case with the tight end. You almost have to kind of make this if you're ever going to get a tight end. And my point here is, you want a tight end on draft day, but you don't want a rookie tight end on draft day. Maybe you use your assets on draft day to say, wow, my team's really good. How do I enhance them exponentially right now? And you look at a team like Philadelphia, who maybe need to tinker a little bit more, you know what I mean? Maybe they need a second first rounder on their starting lineup somewhere. Or you look at the Giants and say, man, these wide receivers don't really fall in the way they should, and my running back's not really healthy ever, and I need a way to elevate Daniel Jones because Gettleman's a moron. So maybe they throw him Evan Ingram, who's a little bit more polished off than Dawson Knox. You know, you just kind of rework and fit it. And I'm pretty sure Kyle Rudolph's in New York now too. So the Giants have kind of an extra tight end laying around. So I don't know. So that's just another caveat. You know, you get a running back at 30 that falls to you. Do you take him because he's the best player available? You get an offer at tight end or another position you feel like you might need. Do you bite on that because it's there? There's going to be a lot of options for the Bills at 30 because 30 is kind of a crapshoot.
Which is interesting. I know that the Steelers pick for us, so that might be the only glare in my discussion here. But they lost James Conner.
They did.
So they might have some wiggle room. I know Jesse James.
I believe they're the 24th pick to be exact.
So Jesse James has been reported in and around Buffalo. They're interested. If they don't decide to go running back, or if they do and they want another position, do we hear calls for Jesse James?
You could add another tight end, but
He's no better than what we have.
that's the thing. Like, the guys that are out there aren't on a team because they're not on a team at this point. Not saying Jesse James isn't a good fixture. I believe Heath Miller. Heath Miller was the 30th pick. I was going through it today. I believe it was Heath Miller. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of options to go here. You could trade out for a player. You could trade back. You could jump up and say, maybe I wasn't thinking about taking a running back, but here I am taking a running back. A lot of options at 30. You're saying D-line, which I don't hate. You're saying defensive backs. I think what my source would do is sit back and listen at 30. You have your boards, you have your scouts. Kind of a crapshoot of a rookie class because of the lack of actual detail-oriented things you can dig into. I don't think Brandon Beane and McDermott are the type to just miss on a pick because they don't have resources. But I think there's a lot of things they can do. So I think sitting back and listening at 30 is the biggest thing they can do. Now, I don't see them moving forward. I don't see them going closer to 1 in this draft. I don't think they have the resources. I don't think they want to give up the resources. Kings stay kings for a reason. It's because they take care of their valuables.
Well, that's the thing. We need closer to 1. We don't need to move up at all.
You agree with that, right?
Yeah.
You don't really need much there?
What are you looking up, Jake?
I want to see what the Panthers did. They had pick 30 or 29 in around there in 2016.
Probably at 31.
Just
they were probably built a little different, though.
They were built wildly different.
We do have one more topic. It was Heath Miller at the 30th pick, 2005.
They took, actually, the year after they won the Super Bowl, with the 31st pick, the 30th pick, they took Vernon Butler.
The 30th pick?
The 30th pick.
Yeah, 30th pick.
That's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. How things come full circle.
Man.
Side note, quick side note. Do we pick up Sam Darnold at some point with the Carolina Panthers connection?
No, that connection's dead. With Mark Reichner? No. Mark Reich's the old Georgia coach. I'm trying to think of Baylor's old coach.
Their coach is...
You got it. Baylor coach. Come on, you know the
There's
coach.
a lot of dead time here.
You know what?
I'll look it up.
When I listen to this, there isn't that much dead time. We talk fast. Scott Drew. No, that's the Baylor basketball
That's
coach.
not the... No, I got it.
It's him.
No, the head coach of the Panthers
He's no longer
Matt Rule.
Matt Rule, that's who it is, not Mark Reich. I knew I had the correct initials. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot that they can do at 30. I'm excited. Now, as we inch closer to the draft, another deadline's coming up. And I don't know if you guys knew about this because I'm
Tremaine Edmonds.
throwing it out there.
Option.
May 1st, 5th-year options for that 2018 class. Got Josh Allen, got Tremaine Edmonds. That is the Saturday of the draft. No, that is Saturday is the draft, is the first.
2018.
David, 5th-year options. Are you picking up both of them?
One of them. Do you know which one?
Yes.
Josh Allen. You don't pick up Tremaine Edmonds yet. He's still on his see what he can do contract.
Isn't that the point of the 5th-year option, though? Okay, we give you one more extra year. Let's see what you can do.
Brandon Bean has been
No, because I know they'll get a contract done with Josh Allen if you just give him more time.
Brandon Bean has been very vocal about really sitting down with Josh Allen and his squad and hashing out contract details after the draft.
I would bet he gets a new contract for the beginning of the season for sure.
So no need for a 5th year then.
No, but I definitely don't think they're going to put a 5th year on Tremaine Edmonds.
Why is that?
I think they're going to draft in the top 3 a linebacker with the potential, like I said in the last podcast, I got no comments actually, that he could potentially be out the door. I don't see him getting a second contract with the Bills at this point. But I know that would be a shock, but I think realistically, I don't think he's going to get a second contract with the Bills with all the money going around.
Don't you think that's poor asset management, though?
Yeah, that word you use.
To have a 17th pick in the draft, have him be 18 when he was drafted, 19 when he was drafted. Give him 4 years, make 2 Pro Bowls, be the leader of your defense, and then not keep him, and then you don't have a leader of the defense and a new middle linebacker.
I think it happens a lot more with linebackers in the NFL than it does with quarterbacks. You don't let quarterbacks go.
The Bills could use a 5th year option on him. It would cost about $22 million, all of which would go to the 2022 salary cap.
Yeah, and I don't think we can afford that. We got a lot.
The cap's
coming
going
up
to
I don't know.
Yeah,
if it's
explode.
22
here.
million.
So does everyone else's.
That's Allen. I'm sorry.
That's Allen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's different for,
I'm so sorry.
I think it's around 11 to 12.
which is still quite a chunk of money.
I believe it's 11 to 12 million, maybe 10 and a half.
Which is why it's more important you get
It's a
Josh
lot for a
Allen.
linebacker.
That's why it's more important you get Josh Allen done.
And
I don't think there's a doubt you get Josh Allen.
I think that's their top priority.
I don't think you have to worry about getting Josh Allen done or not. I think you have to look at your team and think, I have a 22-year-old who I've developed for the last 4 years.
2-time Pro Bowl.
2-time Pro Bowler, whether you believe in Pro Bowls or not.
1-time All-Pro.
He was a 2-time Pro Bowler. You have Tremaine Edmonds, leader of your defense, 22 years old. Do you stop grooming your 22-year-old linebacker? You know, captain. He's a captain of the team. Let's be honest. They're picking up his option. Jacob, your thoughts?
Yeah, and I'll eat crow here. I may have not been super
We were
well informed in regards to Tremaine Edmonds. I saw what I saw.
You had feelings.
It's definitely apparent that he struggled in the AFC Championship game, But looking at his accolades, I mean, as a 22-year-old player, whether Zach says you care or not about the Pro Bowl, 2-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro, that doesn't happen often to 22-year-old linebackers. Is there an issue?
I don't know about the All-Pro thing. I
Second
definitely
team?
know he's a pro. He might be second team. I don't know. I know he gets a ton of tackles.
He led the league last year, right? With like 149 or something crazy.
You definitely can look it up. There's no doubt about that.
I don't know if he led the league, but he was definitely top 2.
He was definitely high for a long time, as was Jordan Poyer. That I know. Look up his Pro Football Focus. A reference. They're the best.
The linebacker from the Colts has led the league in tackles for the past 2 years.
Darius Leonard. I think Devin White was up there last year too. The bottom line is I don't think that there's a way that I see this happening. Listen, I know it's a struggle. Dave's right. Money's tough. The economy isn't what it used to be. Definitely not the NFL economy. And we talk about it like this, but you got to get Tremaine Edmonds done. And you knew when you drafted him that you were going to have the task of, rose-colored glasses when you drafted him. You just drafted your franchise quarterback, and you just drafted a franchise cornerstone linebacker. You knew you were going to have to pay both these dudes. The task is in hand.
But if anyone can get it done, it's that guy right there. Well,
Exactly.
Zach?
not Cody Ford.
Kyler
Not-
Murray.
Bean was on
CeeDee
the
Lamb.
Bean was on the screen.
Cody Ford.
If anyone can get it done, it's Bean.
What did he major in if he's doing the contracts and playing?
Bean is off a bean.
There he is.
Hey, there he is.
Clean it up, brother.
Yo, come on the pot.
Why is he wearing a Mopar sweater?
Yo, dodge till I die.
I do. I actually tried.
I know you do.
Chrysler down.
So do you pick up the option, Jake? You can give us your opinion.
Yeah, oh yeah, you pick up the option.
Money tied up and everything. You gotta.
Dude, You're a little reference here.
What a weird fucking thing. They have more power clothes. Now listen, if you wear it, that's
The
fine.
cap is like this right now, okay? And then next year, the cap is like this.
No one knows what that is.
Big caps.
Those are poker chips.
People know what poker chips
It's
are.
too far away.
Dude, I got a high definition camera. They can see. They see your beautiful
Gotta look
face.
at this Mopar equipment, man.
Yo, just
All right,
drip up from the dick up, baby.
all right, Jake, take us home.
So let's what did we cover? Let's go over it. We got D line, D back.
The bags.
Listen, those are our draft solutions. 5th-year options. We're picking up Josh Allen just because it's a means to an end on that conversation. We're picking up Tremaine Edmonds except for Dave. Dave wants him out of there. He wants a new middle linebacker.
I like the player, but realistically, you're not. You weren't planning on keeping Milano. You did. Nice work.
I think a lot of
So you-
people were planning on keeping
So you weren't planning on keeping Milano,
I didn't think keeping Milano was realistic.
and you also don't. Is that so? I just want to follow it
If
up.
Bean can get both them done, he's a genius.
That's what I want to follow up. Do you think Tremaine Edmonds is just unrealistic and you're being pessimistic?
Do I want to keep him? Of course I want to keep him.
That's what I'm trying to get
for
to
the
the bottom
reasons
of.
you said.
Here's a-
But I don't think it's going to happen.
Here's a question.
That's what we need to clear up.
Do you retain Milano with the already knowing of I'm not keeping Tremaine Edmonds? I think you would rather want to keep Tremaine Edmonds, younger, more athletic.
Yeah, if you knew in the next 4 years you were going to need that money for Tremaine, you don't sign that.
I think Bills are doing it to win now type of deal and worry about it later.
That's
I know
possible too, but that doesn't seem like
But
how they function. Either.
Bills are set up for a long time with Josh Allen. I don't think that necessarily win now. All else is out the window. I think they're building.
Yeah, they'll still be a really good
Dynasty.
team without Edmonds. It's just one hole to fill. They're not going to be a
Big
good team
hole.
without Allen.
Nice.
Listen, let's think about it from just an unbiased perspective here, not Bills wise, just the NFL wise. A 23-year-old, 4 or 5 years starting linebacker is about to hit the market. He's had 2 or 3 Pro Bowls at this point, and he's only 23. There are out of the top 5 linebacking prospects in the draft right now, 4 of them are 23. He's younger than 4 out of the top 5 linebacking prospects. If you knew that guy was coming on the market, do you not pay him what you think Tremaine Edmonds would be worth? Does he not set the market for linebackers? He's 23 years old, 2 to 3 Pro Bowls by then, has led a top 10 defense for 4 to 5 years.
Well,
That's a sexy guy to pick scoop up. He might be the hottest linebacker on the market ever. in this
The other
scenario.
thing no one said was they could franchise take the shut out of him for 2 years.
I didn't know.
So then you pick up the 5th-year option at that point.
Well, yeah, I think
Then you get 3
fifth
more
year
years.
option is a thing, but it's just delaying the inevitable if you don't sign him.
Well, so is a franchise tag. at that point.
Yeah, well, get 2 years out of him. Wait till he's 25 and get rid of him. I don't
even
want to
then-
get rid of him.
But the crazy part is, even then, it's a 26-year-old running back. The Bills are going to have to bend over backwards in order to retain him, or else the whole thing's a waste. He's going to go to another team and be their franchise middle linebacker. That's all it is. Like, that's what I mean by take your Bills glasses off. Another team will scoop up Tremaine Edmonds in this scenario and sign him for 10 years.
In the next 2 years, you have Edmonds, Allen, Diggs, who's going to want more money. Help me if you can with anyone else. Ed Oliver's going to want another contract.
You might not.
Probably not going to happen.
I'd rather not keep Ed Oliver than commit to Edmonds.
So where are you getting this money?
Ed
Salary cap's going up, but yes, Jake, you're still going to have to sign free agents. You're going to have rookies in the next couple of years.
We have so much.
That money is going to be tied up. You're going to have to re-sign people. Diggs is probably going to want and deserve to be the highest paid receiver in the league, which again deserved.
Oh, they're just going to keep raising the salary cap. You know that.
But that's the thing. Even then,
And
you
so
give him
does
cash
people's
instead.
salaries, though.
Listen, but then you give him cash instead of hard cap money. You lose Star Lotulelei next year. You give Tremaine Edmonds his projected $12 million every year. I mean, there's money on this team that'll eventually fall off. Ed Oliver doesn't need top dog money. You just do what you do, and just keep, if they draft a defensive tackle, they're not going to need to sign Ed Oliver again.
I mean, we signed one of the best linebackers last year. The Bills lost 1 to 2 games all year with him in the lineup, and he took a very team-friendly deal. You keep hearing these players. I would pay candy to stay in Buffalo.
That's what I
gonna-
mean. Like, you're not going to have to sign free agents to massive contracts. You just keep stringing them along for holes. Listen, if Bean's done anything correct in free agency, it's to sign for need, not sign for wants. And then eventually you phase out Butler, and that money's free. And you eventually phase out Star Lotulelei. The money's just going to open itself up. That's all it is. You're going to keep having rookie picks on cheap deals.
Evolution of the Bengals uniform. Let's watch this.
You're gonna have rookie picks keep adding up on cheap deals, and then you can sign the guys that you need, and then plug and play with your picks. That's all I'm saying.
True.
Keep Edmonds for life. Make him a lifetime Bill. Put him on the Wall of Fame when he's done. That's how good I want him.
It's almost time to talk about the Wall of Fame because the Bills said
We have all summer.
they're going to make an announcement in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we got a lot of time. But is there anything else you want to talk about, Davey? We got like 5 minutes.
There's nothing else I want to
They're
talk about.
putting the masks on all.
Who do you think's going on the Wall of Fame?
I'm not talking about that now. We're gonna have like
There's
six.
never anything I want to talk about.
We're gonna have 4 weeks in the summer where
Oh,
we're
because
like,
Here,
here,
listen.
2 more weeks, we're like, I don't feel like doing it.
Listen, I'll say it right now. I'll say the same thing I said 2 years ago when we talked about the Wall of Fame. Eric Moulds,
Leisman.
100% deserves to be on the Wall of Fame. It's a shame that he's not. I would guarantee it. I'm giving you a Madman Zach. Guarantee that Eric Moulds is the guy they reveal for the Hall of Fame, Wall of Fame.
I'll tell you who it'll be, and this isn't a guess, it's a spoiler.
He knows.
How do you know?
It's
huh?
going to be a big name because it's going to be
Steven
fans in the stands, so take Biscuit out of there.
Biscuit's a big
Take Eric Moulds out of there. No, it's going to be someone that
Bigger than Eric
nowadays
Moulds.
Bills fans are here and go crazy. Either Fred
Kyle
Jackson
Williams.
or Kyle Williams. One of those two names. Because there's going to be fans in the stands, it's going to sell tickets, it's going to get people crazy.
They don't need to sell tickets. They're
They don't
3 and
need to,
13.
but they're going-
They're 13 and
it's gonna
3.
be
I don't know.
crazy.
I hear a lot of people on Twitter saying they're not going to games. So,
Damn. Drought again.
Oh.
yo, they're gonna start
That
blacking out
means
games.
Jordan Poyer's not going to a game?
Yo, he's out of New York.
Dude, he wasn't at the Kansas City game, so what's it to him?
Yo, unblock me on Twitter, Rachel
Who?
Bush.
She blocked you on Twitter?
No, she blocks everybody.
Unblock me on Twitter, Cody Ford.
Yo,
Yo, hey, one last thing, because we have 2 more minutes here.
3.
Where's the countdown to this?
On here. The Bills, the NFL, revealed the block in the back.
That's fine.
Revealed the block in the back amendment to the rule. They went back and stop. Zach, stop. They went back and amended the rule that got Cody Ford that 15-yard penalty in the Houston game. Did you guys see that?
Yes. 2 years too late.
So we all, not even me, because I was vehemently in favor of Cody Ford
Okay.
at the time, that Cody Ford did not have a blindside block there. I still, to this day, now we know he did not have a blindside block there. So, Cody Ford, if you're listening, which we think you might, maybe not anymore.
So we beat Houston?
I
Or
think,
does this not really
Give us
matter?
I think we have to line back up. Deshaun Watson has to wear handcuffs to the game. Steven Hauska has to line up and kick a 51-yard field goal.
Not
we,
beat me.
Like 6 times.
we have to go on to play against Kansas City.
Well, did I tell you I had lunch with
Guess
Steven Hauschka?
who's back then? Was Lee Smith on that team?
He was. He almost got the Hail Mary.
Bring back Lee Smith.
Did I tell you the time I had lunch with Steven Hauschka?
You had lunch with Stephen Hauschka?
You never
Yeah.
know. You never know, bro.
Yo, you have some really nice patio furniture now. Maybe we we cut a pod on
Outside?
the patio furniture.
Or in the hot tub.
That hot tub's way too small for
Yeah,
the
show
3
those
homes.
bodies up, guys.
No, me.
No, I'm going up. Shirt on.
My post for draft draft night review is gonna be a cigar in the hot tub.
Dude, I'm gonna have to record that. It's gonna be sus. Yo, drop the fucking mic in the hot tub.
Thank you for listening, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Hopefully in better spirits. Dave's a little grumpy, drinking his
No
can.
can.
Yeah, we're trying to
I'm not
be
grumpy at all.
we're trying to be anti-can. Dave's raging against the machine over here.
Yeah, let us know that cans aren't.
Look how ugly Chris Collinsworth is.
Thank you for listening. Have a great week, guys. Go